Another day, another video. Let's fix that lighting. So today's video is all about my 19 mistakes I made in 19 years. Now I'm not saying I made a mistake each year and that's what this is about, but this is in general the 19 mistakes I made and how I went through them. I am now 20 and that's where the inspiration came from. I turned 20 this year and I realized that I went through a lot in my 19 years, just like anybody else, and I had some mistakes, trial and error, we working with it, and from that I grew so much, and these are the things that helped me grow, and I just sat down, wrote it all out, and here we are. So let's get to it. So I have my laptop here because I'm reading off of my laptop, and also I don't have my glasses, that's why it's so close to me, but the first thing is, not everyone's your cheerleader. This is quite obvious, but this is something I had to realize the hard way. I thought in my life, if I were to do anything, I would have the support of everyone around me. And that's just not how it works. It really does not work that way. It took me a second to realize that, but here we are. And them not, I don't want to say not supporting, but them just doing their thing and me doing my thing doesn't make me any less in their life, and that doesn't make them any less in their life, in my life. And let's get to the next. The next one was, you are not for everyone.
And that's the look of someone who realized what she just said.
My gal, you're not for everybody. Like, you could be the most suck up, you could be the most people pleaser person, but you're just not for everyone. By the way, sorry, I lost my voice. But your personality is not gonna mesh with everyone well. Who you are might not match well with some people. And honestly, that's okay. Like, if we were all to be the same, that would be so boring. Like, it would just be the most bland world I could ever imagine. So the fact that you have conflicting ideas, conflicting ideologies is what makes life interesting and also brings so much more perspective into your life that you wouldn't have known if everyone was like you. Food for thought. But the next one is, plans are made to be broken. Now, I literally wrote down everything I was going to talk about in this video. I write down my daily plans, everything. Like, I like to be on schedule, on point with what I'm doing, but I've come to realize that, first of all, that's very rigid. Second of all, I'm closing myself off to so many things I could be doing just because I am trying to stick to a schedule. So this year, well, my 19th year made me realize that I need to let loose. One of my most favorite memories are literally of times when they were the most last minute thing. And I wouldn't have been able to experience that if I was so fixated on my plans, what I'm doing for the day. So now I just go with the flow. I just enjoy. I do still do planning and everything, but I'm not as devastated if things were to happen as the way I want to than before. But I am so happy that I learned that because I feel like now I can experience so much more that I wouldn't have been able to experience if I was still so rigid with my scheduling. So that's the third one. The next one is, reality is harsh, but life is beautiful. I feel like with being a human being, we go through trial and error. And when we're experiencing it in the moment, it can feel so harsh. It can feel so devastating, like the end of the world. But honestly, after you go through it, you do some self-reflection, I feel like we're able to see more of the beauty in that experience and have more gratitude for what we've experienced. So I like to follow that motto nowadays, that reality is harsh but life is beautiful, because I truly believe that now. And also next, this has to be my phrase for 2021, it's the little things. And when I say that, literally, it's the little things in life. Being so in the moment, I sometimes forgot that I might be the main character in my own story, but sometimes I can go overboard where I start to neglect all the things happening around me. I didn't even realize the beauty of butterflies, and I mean this literally until my 19th year. And I kind of got obsessed. I don't want to say it's an obsession, but now when I see butterflies, I become so mesmerized. And that's something I would have never paid attention to before. I would never like think of mine, like think of make time of day to even look at that stuff. But I've come to now realize sometimes instead of going with the flow of this fast-paced life, sometimes I need to take it slow, take a breather, take a moment, and just appreciate the little things. So that has to be one of the more bigger things I've learned this year. But this ties into the next, which is the past can be a beauty and a brute. Now, my 19th year was literally self-reflection. I reflected so much about my past, my present, what I even thought of my future, how did that coincide with my current standings, my current morals, and I've come to now realize that what I faced in the past, although seemed so ugly sometimes when I thought back on it, I can now see the beauties of those past memories. I have gotten so much more than I could have ever wanted in my lifetime from that past. So now when I look at my past, I look at it through a lens with gratitude, like with so much gratitude, because I would not be here where I am today if not for that past. And even though it wasn't always the most happy of moments, my most favorite memories, it is still memories that got me to where I am today, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So, off to the next. So the next one is, being who I truly am can be shitty sometimes. Now, when I say this, I mean to say that I am awkward. I'm very awkward. I am weird, quirky, but honestly, I don't show that to people when I first meet them or the next couple times I meet them or for much a while after. And the reason being is I don't want to make people uncomfortable, so I always thought that I need to filter who I am. Now there's a difference between, I feel like, filtering who you are and just not being true to yourself. And I took it to the extent where I wasn't being true to who I am anymore, just to feel that I could be able to make other people comfortable, which is kind of counterintuitive now that I think of it, because it's like, why am I so fixated on making other people uncomfortable when I myself is uncomfortable acting this way? So that's something I had to take in for a while. I really had to think that one out. But honestly, it's because of that I am here, and it's just who I am, and the people who are closest in my life have come to embrace that. And if they're able to embrace me for me, why can't other people? And that's something I had to get over myself. That was a me problem, honestly, because I feel like the people I meet in my life have been very open, but I just haven't been able to reciprocate that. You know what I mean? But yeah. So the next one is, today cannot predict tomorrow's outcome, so live it up and keep it running. Now this has to do more with the it's little things. I feel like it's more tied to that one in the sense that I have a very big problem with
Any day now.
planning. I like to have my future set. I want to know what I'm doing, when I'm doing, how I'm doing. And honestly, that has not benefited me in the slightest. It has made me anxious when I don't feel like I'm where I should be. And it makes me not only dismiss, but forget that I have a current now. I am not helping my current now by doing the things I'm doing. So now I look at myself when I'm starting to get very flooded with these thoughts, and I just think of, you know what, I'm here now, that's the blessing, and I just need to run with it. I need to take who I am, how I am, what I am as of right now, and just embrace those moments, because I won't have them forever, and they're just, every second is literally a second that goes by that I haven't done what I wanted to do. And that's honestly, at the end of the day, live my life. It's not about my plans or anything, it's just living my life. And I need to realize to do that in the now, not the later, the now. So the next one is lying, no matter how small, never truly progresses your life. Now, I have some controversial thoughts about this. I do believe in the concept of white lies, and let me be honest, I don't currently now do, but I did think, like, if I'm lying for other people, you know, it's okay, like, it cancels out. No, it doesn't, first of all. Cute, but that's not how it works. And second, and I'm saying that because I am a Catholic, lying isn't something that's very sought out. It's not seen as good, just straight up saying. So when I would be making these lies saying, oh, it's for the other people, yeah, no, it wasn't. It was for myself. Honestly, at the end of the day, I would say it so I didn't have to hurt their feelings. And it was more that I didn't have to experience them going through those feelings with me because I was uncomfortable. That's just outright how I felt most of the time. So I've come to realize that even when I would lie to benefit myself or other people, at the end of the day, it was for myself. It was so I wouldn't have to be uncomfortable in a situation with them. It was so I could feel better about the whole situation. And I feel like coming to realize that has made me more aware of when I'm lying. And I feel like, I don't know with other people, but I feel like nowadays it's so much easier for me to lie about things because I've done it for so long. And coming to recognize that, I'm very self-aware of that now, and I do avoid saying it. And even if I do, I'll catch myself and I'll literally just tell the other person, yeah, no, I didn't mean to say that. And then just take accountability, which sucks. I'm so sorry, but I feel like, you know, the kid who cried wolf? I feel like that person each time. But at the end of the day, accountability is more bigger than anything to me personally. So I'd rather just be straight up and tell them than have to feel like I need to hide anything. So yeah. And the next one is, your path is not the same as everyone else. Now, in this day and age with social media, I feel sometimes degraded. Looking at these girls living their life, looking at them getting their bag, living that lifestyle that's just so admirable, and having that face, body. But here's the thing. First of all, it's a picture. Second of all, even if it's a video, it's a snippet. You're looking at a snippet of their life. It could be fabricated, it could be anything. And coming to that realization has made me accept that my path isn't the same as anyone's. That doesn't make my path any less significant, it just makes it different. And I feel like the same applies to everyone else. I personally think that me walking my path is one of the greatest things I could do for myself, and having the appreciation that this is my road to take and theirs is theirs. And instead of looking at them admirably now, I look at them with more content. I'm happy for them that they're living that life, but I'm also happy for myself and excited for what my path holds, kind of thing. So it's kind of weird, that one, but I honestly had to do a lot of thinking. And even now I catch myself being like sucked into that feeling once again. But now, since I'm more self-aware, I'm able to step back and be like, no, this is not it, and then reevaluate. So yeah, and let's get to the next. This one I'm gonna have to read, but at the end of the day, a setback is a setback, but you choose to see how long it sets you back and when you bounce back from it. Now, I'm a believer of you have control of your emotions at the end of the day. I also do understand that mental health is a serious thing. I don't take that as a joke, and I do believe to an extent. Now, with learning psychology and everything, I've come to understand that there's so many factors that affect our mind, but I personally have come to realize that when I am in that negative mind space, I am adding to it. So what I would what I usually do is I would start by something small. I would get upset. And then I would think of other things that I know is gonna make me upset, and I keep going. And then I just go to that rabbit hole and I just keep going. And then at some point, there's just no return. I am just gone in those thoughts. And I've come to realize that it's really affected my mental health personally. So now whenever I start, I take 2 steps back and I'm like, why am I doing this? What has made me like this? Why do I feel like this? And I evaluate that each and every time. And I feel like doing that has made me recognize that not everything I'm upset about is something to be upset about. Not everything I'm upset about deserves the amount of attention I'm giving it. So sometimes by stepping back and evaluating how I am and why I am acting that way gives me, first of all, a breather, and second of all, it allows my mind to process objectively rather than emotionally sometimes, which does tend to get the best of me, is my emotions. So doing that for me personally helps. But honestly, if this is a continuous struggle you're having, I would say seek professional help, because it may be something else. And now in this day and age, I would like to say with big gleam, I am so happy where mental health has come, and how it's not only helping generations who are affected by it here, but now also immigrants are taking that step to pay attention to their mental health and take care of it. Because I feel personally that having a bad day is perfectly fine, and having a bad week is fine. But as long as you're acknowledging that you're feeling like this and it's okay to feel like this, I think that's one of the biggest things you can take away from each time you're put in that circumstance. But I also do understand that sometimes there's triggers, sometimes there's trauma, and those things do need professional help, and sometimes you need that guidance for your mind. So yeah, that was the next thing. And I know we went a little more serious, but getting back to it. But the next one is, I wrote, you may not always have those you love around you, so cherish the time you have with them now. Now, when I wrote this, my main focus was my parents. I am very close to my family. I put family above everything else. And that does include my friends that I do consider family now. So with that in mind, I realize I won't have forever with them. I won't have forever, whether what's held for me in the future means I won't have that time with them. I've come to realize that I need to take that time now, take advantage of the time I have with them now, and just cherish it. Just spend that time with them. Just make those memories, because at the end of the day, I personally feel that the time I spend with them is my happy place. They are my happy place when it comes to being around with people, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I feel so sappy talking of this stuff, and then I realize my voice is like this, so I'm like, you know what, it's fine. But on to the next. The way you see the world can always be interpreted in a different manner. And this one also kind of does have a play on social media, in the sense that what you put out might not be received the same way by everyone else. The way you act, even in front of people, like one-to-one, may not be interpreted the same way, where in the sense of how you wanted it to be portrayed. And that's okay, because not everyone is you and you're not everyone. You can't get in their mind, think how they're thinking, see like, why are they thinking this way? Why are they acting this way? They need to tell you and you need to tell them, which is communication. But my main focus here was more of, it's okay that you don't see the world the same way as other people, and it actually can be something very beneficial, because having those extra perspectives opens your mind up to new possibilities that you would have never probably approached on your own. So I think that's the bigger thing that I took away from that. And now when I have conflicting ideas, when I have conflicting morals, and I feel like conflicting is such a negative, like it has such a negative annotation to it, But when I have that back and forth between someone, I can now, instead of looking at them with such, I now look at them with much appreciation, because since they have that opinion, that perspective, I'm able to see a perspective that I never would have reached on my own. Oh my god, my voice cracked. Reached on my own. But yeah, so let's get to the next. I don't want to admit this, but not doing things solely on interest. Now, when I started this channel, I was very into it. I was so into it to the point where I was neglecting my work, and when I say work, I just mean my part-time job, and other things that I meant to make time for to begin with. My readings, my Bible study, my time with the ones I love. And I did it solely because this is my interest. And sometimes I need to step back and be like, okay, like, how can I be manageable with my time? How can I be reasonable with my time? And so now, having those thoughts, I've come to approach things with more of a mindset. When I schedule things, I schedule it with the impression that this isn't going to be the only thing. And I'm open to doing other things as well in the day, making time for those things that I like to do. So that's what I mean kind of when I say interests. It can be anything, but just remember that there's other things and you have multiple interests. So it's good to make time for all of it and be manageable with your time, your energy, and all of that. So yeah. So the next one is something that sucks to say, but getting the bag can be lonely. Now, when I say this, I mean to say it's good for you to get that bag, and there's nothing wrong with you trying to build up your finances. I'm personally in that position right now where I'm trying to do that, and that's great. You need to acknowledge the fact that you have priorities, and it's okay. It's 100% okay. Your priority right at this moment might be that you're trying to build your finances. So when you're doing that, people around you might not realize that this is one of the things you're trying to do. And although you can try and explain, there's only so much explaining you can do. So there comes a point where you need to be like, this is for myself, and I know that this for me is what I currently need. And that's it. Literally, that's it. And for me, when I was doing this, I thought that I was pushing people away, but I've just come to realize that back then my priorities were that, their priorities were that, and it was okay. Us having these different priorities worked for us at that time. And yeah, this one is negativity will always get the best of you. And I personally feel like it's harder to be positive than it is negative. For me, I can get so like consumed with negative thoughts, but I have to push myself to think in a positive manner. And that could just be how I am, but with realizing that it's so easy for me to go down that rabbit hole of negativity, I've come to acknowledge that it's okay that I'm doing it, but I need to stop sometimes. There's sometimes a line that I cross where I just go in too deep at that point and there's just no coming out for a while. So acknowledging the fact that I'm doing it and being able to recognize that there's only so far that I could do this for has allowed me to actually not go to that place as often as I used to. And now, trying to be more positive, I've come to recognize that there's so much more good than bad in this world. Although it does seem around us that everything that's being shoved down our throats is the bad stuff. But sometimes you need to just take a step back and realize there's good things too. And how can you add to that good thing? I think that's more where I had to work from. And it's helped me tremendously. But let's get to the next. The moment now won't last longer than it can, so absorb as much of it as you can. And when I say this, it does tie back to one of my previous ones, but this is more in the sense that yes, there's living in the moment, but there's also living in this current second. And just at some random point, when I'm happiest, I sometimes can feel like the time just goes by way too quick. So now I'm just trying to like hold on to those times longer. And when the bad times happen, although it can feel like the longest times ever now, well, even before, but now I've come to recognize that I can make those negative times that feel like it's going on forever something better than it would have been. So when I say that, that's kind of what I mean, but let me read the last thing. So I wrote this down. People have varying opinions on living in the now. The way I see it, rather than having everything riding on the moment, I tend to see it as the moment we have now is something we'll never get back. Therefore, that moment should be cherished for what it is and then move on to the next. So this plays with the positives and the negative things that happen in your life. And that's it, y'all. That's the end of the video. So if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button. And also just stay tuned because I have so much more coming. I have all my travel stuff coming out soon. So yeah, stay tuned on my socials if you want to catch up with me on a daily basis. Bye, y'all. So, sorry y'all, I'm standing and I don't have the greatest leg strength because I worked out my legs yesterday. Coming to realize that has made me realize that, damn, my voice is gone. Oh my god, my voice is gone.